The Cats pinch another close one against the Hawks. Geelong home by 3 points at the MCG in what was another classic between these two sides. We thought they could have been done, but a turnaround in the Hawks format has shown that they are still a reasonable side. Obviously not the side they once were, but they can certainly take it up to the best, and they probably had the better part of the game throughout the day, and essentially a few individual efforts really got us across the line, a la Dangerfield. One of the most amazing games I've seen from an individual player, and it would have to be his best game for his time at the Cats, maybe the best of his career. What do you think, mate? How did you see the game yesterday at the G with everyone?
Yeah, mate, it certainly was another tight encounter that they always seem to play out, these two sides. So it was a thriller, it always is, and it was pretty tense towards the end there, but yeah, really good to get the win. Obviously, we do say every win is crucial, and this one was again because the Hawks very organised behind the ball and played to their structures extremely well, and they moved the ball a bit more freely than we would have liked, with the switch and finding men out wide, using it by foot, which they so often do. They hammered it, contested marks, but we certainly did have that man up in attack, Paddy Dangerfield, who was simply the difference. I mean, Tom Mitchell was amazing for them, but obviously the impact of Dangerfield up forward was just enormous. I mean, to keep 5 goals 6 is unheard of from a midfielder who goes and rests forward. It's so hard to do. But yeah, outstanding stuff, mate. I felt reasonably confident later in the game. I didn't think it'd get that close, and then when Hodge kicked it, you're thinking, come on, all we have to do is halve a contest here in the middle, or at least intercept it when they do get a clearance. It just happened to fall, and again, Isaac Smith with the final kick just misses. So,
Deja vu.
Yeah, there'll be plenty of debate about whether he should have just held on to it and taken a set shot, or gone with it on the run, and I don't mind that he went on the run. I reckon he probably had that last kick on the set shot in the back of his mind a little bit, but as far as the Cats go, mate, it was super important for us to get that win. I thought we fought pretty hard. It didn't happen easy for us. It was one of those games where it's not exactly a day and nothing quite comes easily. A few players down, a couple of late outs with Matty and Squeeze Selwood, so there was a bit of extra youth in there, and I thought that really did hurt. Just, they can sometimes provide excitement, but equally they can go missing, and I thought Simpson and Parsons and a few of those guys just did go missing for large parts of the game. So I thought we held up pretty well in the clinches. We certainly looked pretty tired towards the end of the game. I don't know whether that was confidence and we went in our shells a bit, or we were actually fatigued, maybe because of the rotation in the midfield, but I thought we fought really hard in some late contests there just to force it to another ball up, and yeah, very pleased to win. And you can't replicate that feeling of when the opposition has the ball, they're running forward, and if they kick the goal, you're going to just be heartbroken.
Yeah.
And then when they miss, your heart's just in the mouth, and unbelievable sense of relief.
No control at all over that situation.
Yeah, black and white, that's for sure. So I was really pleased. And just on Dangerfield's game, it was outstanding. I think just the fact that he looked down and out, we thought, gee, how many weeks is he going to miss before we get into finals? Then he's back out, can barely run. Obviously, as the game went on, he seemed to be able to fly for the ball all right, but still couldn't run, and just unbelievable. 5 goals 6, he did hit the post twice, but he's man of the 450 as well as I've ever seen. Well, anyone really, let alone a midfielder. So he can do it all, Paddy, and certainly one of his best games. Maybe not the flashiest or the most common with a lot of touches, but in a different way, in a unique circumstance, he was outstanding.
Clark, I did define it as unique with the overall setup, but look, relief was probably the word used at the end of the game. At half time, most of you guys, or most of us, probably seemed a bit flat, like what's going on, where's our game? I mean, at half time I was thinking we're not playing well, but I felt we've got a fair bit left to give. I mean, we're pretty good in second halves, to be fair, so I thought we're bound to get a change in momentum at some stage. I guess we did in the end. Third quarter, 5 goals, so that they really wrestled it back for us. Big time performance in there, but yeah, look, it wasn't a flashy game at all. As you mentioned off the top, Hawthorn, lots of uncontested marks. That's the game they want to play. That's exactly what they want to do. It's all about that second kick-off halfback. If that hits a target, that's probably one of the most, besides kick inside forward 50, is probably one of the most important kicks because that can break up the whole ground and move defences and everything like that. But their kicking inside 50 wasn't great. They had a couple of nice passes throughout the game, but yeah, Hawthorn would probably feel like they're slightly robbed with just not executing at the end of it, and we seemed to pounce on a few turnovers and some really good bits of play, and our pressure was not great early but lifted in the second half, which was invaluable to get the 4 points on the board. Some great individual. It was just a great game of individual acts, I think, for us. I've never seen a game we've had so many long kicks down the line with just incredible contested marks. So we just, that's all we were. We were just a contested mark team away from getting a score on the board. So Stanley took a great one. Menzel was good. With that, Dangerfield was just, as we said off the top, unbelievable. So, luckily we can mark contested, mate. Otherwise we would have been in a lot of trouble. Around the coalface, and probably, as we've been talking about, the man Dangerfield, 26 clearances for us and 36 to Hawthorn. On the other side, Tom Mitchell absolutely dominated, getting 19 in the first half. May have even had 2 goals next to his aim on. He kicked his second goal on the second quarter, third. But so it's a funny little trade-off we had there with not getting as much sort of support around the source. But up forward, where no one really stood up, Dangerfield under sort of going one-on-one deep, sort of provide us that finish, which we probably needed as well. And some players hit the post a few times, as we said, couldn't quite convert. But equally, the Hawks had a lot of opportunities as well, where there was times if they nail that goal, it puts us out just not beyond reach, but very, very hard to peg back from there. So, look, relatively pleased overall. The final siren, I wasn't like pumped off my, I wasn't going off my nut, but I was just like, gee whiz, unbelievable. I wish I was more excited. I mean, if there was a goal, just like, if we kicked the sealer before Hodge kicked one, or, something without Hawthorn stuffing up to lose the game, I would have gone off my head. But, look, take the wins, mate. As I said, we'll bank the 4 points. Hawthorn they'd have to just do everything 100% perfect to make the 8, and even then it's not too likely. So nice to get that win on the board. We'll take that. And, there'll be plenty more discussion come time of player review and the votes as well, which we'll go into now, mate. How do we see the votes?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, obviously, I think we'll both be agreeing on the one man to the 3, and that was clearly P. Dangerfield. I think he was outstanding, as we mentioned, for those reasons. Off the top, I gave 2 votes to Lockie Henderson. I thought he was just outstanding in the air. He just has beautiful hands, and I think he's a very underrated player. I definitely think last year, prior to a bit of injury and that, I mean, he was right up there in All Australia contention, I would have thought.
Yeah.
And again, this back half of the year he's putting together is outstanding. Mitch Duncan, I gave the 1 vote to. I thought he and Menegola, towards the end of the game, really lifted. And I thought they were a big reason as to why we got the points. And definitely someone had to. And Duncan has had an outstanding season and shouldn't be in the shadow anymore. So was Dangerfield. He's an A-grader within his own right, and he was very influential. So he got my 1 vote, mate. How'd you see it?
Very good, mate. Pretty similar. Dangerfield with the 20 touches, 12 marks, excuse me, 3 tackles and 5 goals, 6. He probably could have kicked 7 or 8, and he probably passed plenty off as well. So just an unbelievable effort. One of the best games I've seen from an individual. Probably a bit biased there. I mean, there's been some players that get some amazing goals on the board, but as a midfielder on one leg, it doesn't really get much better than that. It was captivating. Is probably the way I'd put it. It was just, you just couldn't help but watch and just cheer louder each time we got the football.
Yeah.
And I gave the 2 votes to Mitchy Duncan, mate. 27 touches, got the 3 marks, 7 tackles. He's just really become great in the centre for us. Just a real reliable cog. You know what you're going to get from him. His kicking sometimes lets him down a little bit, but I can live with that, with him getting more contested footy, and that's going to happen with a bit more pressure. So, yeah, but all round general clean game from Duncan, and just really good output. Lockie Henderson gets the 1 vote, mate. He certainly gets my votes this week. 23 touches, 10 marks, and 5 tackles. So he got 11 marks last week. He's in some ripping form, Lockie. So he's just controlling that back line very nicely, taking some great intercept marks there, and really just being the general down back and providing some great support for Taylor and Lonergan in a very pivotal role.
Yeah, good stuff, mate. Seeing eye to eye there.
Very good. Yeah, it was pretty clear. I guess some shout-outs for Menzel and Selwood. Menzel was really good too with the 3 goals. It doesn't offer a great deal on the defence, but you did kick a couple of crucial goals at crucial times, so certainly did well there. Selwood 30 touches and kicked a nice goal at the end there, but I felt those 3 players stood up the most.
Good stuff.
The player review section block, mate, I think we'll see pretty much eye to eye on this as well, with a couple of players missing, players that we know could be potential superstars in their 8th year that just aren't quite delivering as much as they could or should.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we spoke about a couple of those throughout the game, and they continue to frustrate. Probably Steve Motlop is the obvious one, but Cam Guthrie as well. I think it's just not the player he once was.
What has happened to him?
Once upon a time was really composed and a smooth mover through the midfield, and ever since they sort of used him as a bit of a utility, sometimes he'd tag, sometimes he'd be in the back line, and now sometimes he's in the forward line. We've just lost what he used to be, and he really isn't having the impact on games that he once did. He lifted in that last quarter, which was good, but I'd just like to see him go back to one position, and whether that is off the half-back flank or through the midfield, whatever they feel is best, and just find where his role is. And Steve Motlop is a massive concern and more a frustration. He's just got all the talent in the world and probably doesn't influence games regularly enough at all, and particularly a game like yesterday, we were dying for a player like him to stand up just for a couple of moments, just to lift for a goal or a passage of play, and he got involved in that last passage where Dangerfield ended up hitting the post, but that was pretty much it, really. And
yeah,
I'd like to see him go forward. I feel sometimes our forward line can be a little slow out of the attack, and I definitely think he could be worth putting in forward line. It simplifies it for him. He doesn't have to be thinking too much about the two-way running, and can just know exactly where the ball's going to end up because he's commanding it. And I just feel maybe the midfield role hasn't quite worked for him at this stage of his season. Like, he's obviously a very talented player, but he really hasn't put together a great season yet. He's deep into his career, and you got to wonder, is he just going to be a bloke who is forever classed as, gee, had a lot of potential, but he only played a good game every 3 or 4 weeks. When he did, it was great, but then he go missing. Like, I just feel that he's such a dangerous option in attack. Maybe put him there for a few weeks, sneak a couple. He's actually a very nice set shot on goal. And then maybe you can try him back in the midfield with perhaps some confidence. But at the moment, it's not happening. So I think that's something to look at. Some people, like my dad, would probably say maybe put him back to the 2s. And look, I wouldn't be absolutely against that. I don't think they're not playing that bad to warrant being dropped, considering we don't have a stack screaming out to be put in the side. But maybe if you want to send that message and kick him up the backside, that might be an option. But otherwise, I think probably, just going to call out a few younger players, which, you're not going to put them on the chopping block, but I think we'll probably see a few of them put back to the 2s. The likes of Simpson and Parsons, he does some nice things, but I just wonder whether they've got maybe another small forward option. They'll probably persist with him because he has had a couple of good weeks, but I personally don't think 2017 he's going to be a best 22 player come finals time. And Zach Guthrie was alright, did a couple of nice things, but he and Colin Jasny could both potentially go out of the side. Rice and Mackie, Thurlow could possibly be in the mix, but
yeah, definitely.
Certainly without some guys like Scott Selwood or Andrew Mackie and a few types like that, it did sort of expose a bit of a inexperienced underbelly. When you can have 3 or 4, but when you start getting up towards your 5 and 6, it just leaves so much less margin for error for your better players to have to perform, because more often than not, it wavers with those younger types, their performance, within matches and across the course of a month. But there's some promising signs from a few young guys, but I reckon if Scott Selwood's right, I'd imagine they would absolutely be putting him in, because he was so close to getting back. But we'll have to wait and see, mate. Colin Jasny worries me a little bit, but again, there's not a stack of options screaming out in the VFL side to put me in, sort of thing. So, did you have anything to add to that, mate? Obviously, we talked a bit about Motlop and Guthrie, and they're probably the main ones, because they're guys that you have expectations on.
Yeah, I mean, with Colin Jasny, he's certainly a project player, and he's got, it could be a superstar centre-half back or running key defender, intercept marker, whatever you like. It does make some poor decisions at times and can succumb to the pressure, but look, I reckon he will be a star, hopefully, and I reckon you think the same. So, looking at Steve Mollop, I mean, said it a number of times yesterday, I'd love to see him just play deep forward, that Eddie Betts, Cyril Rioli type role, or that's what he should be for us. He's been in the system long enough, 8 years now, so really, it's make it or break it for Steve. That's where he started his career, and he played well there, and he's got the potential to kick 3 or 5 or 6 on a really good day. So, and when we're crying out for pressure in the forward line, which is another thing I didn't quite get to mention to on the initial review of the game, was every time the ball hit the ground inside our 50, Hawthorn just got it first time and just got it out with ease every time, which means the forward line either doesn't have the hunger, doesn't have the speed, or simply they just don't have the right attributes and mix in the forward line. Circumstances were different yesterday with Dangerfield on one leg. Hawkins not the quickest. Menzel doesn't tackle, which is probably another little thing to mention. He has some great moments, and he's been you described him as a good player the other week, and look, he's not the player that we think he could be right at the minute. Doesn't quite have that burst of speed that we've seen, and that's understandable for knee recos, all that kind of stuff. Just would like to see a little bit more of Dan, but amazing game to end up with 3. So it's maybe slightly harsh on a guy that's coming back, but would just like to see a bit more two-way running and a little bit more from him. Sure you would agree there. And look, the younger guys weren't in it a great deal, and that's just how it goes with Mackie and Selwood out. But Motlop off the top mainly. Guthrie, I reckon, you're spot on with just needing to put him in a spot. Keep him there, whether it's half back, whether it's midfield. I think that'll depend on the mix they have and who's in, who's out. So I think they'd more so like him. Don't really know where they would, just wherever they need him at the moment. So Murdoch went all right. Most of the team played pretty well. There was a couple of players that didn't quite go too well, but beauty footage you got next week. Parfitt kicked a goal on his return, did some nice things, but hopefully see the better of him in the coming weeks, and he'll be better for the run.
Yeah, definitely, mate.
Moving on to next week, we've got the Crows at Adelaide Oval, and gee whiz, what have we got? 1 versus 2. This is going to be absolutely massive. Every game's going to define where the final top 8, top 4 will sit. I feel like this game, though, could just be absolutely massive and crucial in the overall scheme of things. Could be the difference between whether someone gets first, second, third, fourth, if we are to make it that far. There's many games to go in the season, but the Crows were irresistible against the D's. The D's, they came out of the blocks early, the Crows, and then the D's came back. They challenged multiple times, and the Crows just always had the answers. They were playing some very slick footy in a pretty tough ground to play against up in TIO Stadium, but up in the Northern Territory. But Look, it's hard to tip us against the Crows with that kind of form. We have had some really good form against the Crows of late. I don't think they've beaten us since 2013, so it'll be tough to say. I think a lot of it will depend on the injury reports of Sloan and Dangerfield, whether either of those play. If Dangerfield's out, I'll be more inclined to tip Adelaide. 4 goals, 3 or 4 goals. But in saying that, I still think we can certainly win even if Dangerfield doesn't play. But obviously, the percentages sway that much if Dangerfield does play. I reckon we'll win if Dangerfield's in the side in reasonable shape. I mean, 5 goals, 6 on one leg is, not reasonable. So, yeah, very interesting there. Very tough to say. I think that it'll depend on the injury report this week, mate. What do you reckon?
Yeah, no, good point. I suppose that the top side, Geelong and Adelaide probably rely heavily on a couple of meets more than others, and hence why it is so important. If either of them can get up, if both do or need to do, but let's just say that they both do. I mean, you'd definitely be tagging Brian, you'd be putting Scotty Sellers straight on him, and I reckon you'd be asking maybe a pass bit or something like that to just play your natural game, but just keep a nice close eye on someone like Rory Laird, because I think when they play well, he generally has an easy 30, and when they don't play so well, I know last time against us he only had about 20 odd, and I think he's very key to the way they move the ball, and I think we've won the last 4 against them, a couple in Adelaide, a couple in Geelong, and there's a good record against them. I suppose Adelaide trouble a lot of teams for that forward line, and our back line seems to handle them very well with their taller players, and Busey and Tui of late seem to be quite reliable on the likes of Cameron and Betts, of course. So we seem to be able to blanket all of their influence in attack. So we seem to do quite well against them over the last few years, as you mentioned. So obviously being in Adelaide, it is very tough. The Crows have shown an ability to play some risk and then play some unbelievable footy. So I'm just not sure which Adelaide side's going to come out. They've shown the ability to, even when Sloan has been tagged out of the game, to still dominate games. So I reckon, before you can fully cast a tip, I suppose, you do want to know if Dangerfield is flying or in, but I go in thinking of a very, very good chance. I think it's going to be an extremely close game. I just think that the side that can produce around the footy will come out on top, because Adelaide's midfield is definitely their weakest point, and I think if we can get on top in that area, it's going to be crucial, and an area that we're going to want to get on top of, because if we don't, and Adelaide's form line gets in silver term, so it's going to be all sorts of trouble. So never easy travelling over there. So I'm looking forward to the game, mate. It'd be an amazing thing that if we were to get up, we'd be on top of the ladder, but
yeah, absolutely, mate. So that's the review from Shorty and myself. Cats getting home by 3 points. Amazing game, incredible win, and a massive cast against the Crows next week. So subscribe to stick around for the review for next week, and any other content upload as well. It'd be great. Like the video, it'd be great. And we'll catch you guys next time. Thanks for joining in today, mate.
Thanks, mate.
All right, sweet. Catch you guys next time.